All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to Finance Indaba Africa 2018. The time has come for us to pronounce on, as you can see on the winners, as you can see from the background, we started the CFO case study competition. I wouldn't take you back to 2016 when it all began, but let's focus on what we are trying to achieve today. We started 9 months ago. We would open up a global business case. This year was AB InBev, the AB InBev acquisition of SAB Miller, one of our most famous iconic brands. And university students around the world, including our top universities in South Africa, as well as high schools on the continent, they would download this case study, as you've seen on the background, and demonstrate what they are learning from school would be capable of producing or developing their business leaders of the future. Yesterday, we saw out of the top 6 teams for each competition that you've just seen broadcast there, we left now with 3 teams. There are 3 teams on my right, which are those who competed the finals yesterday in committee room 4. If you were not there, you missed out a lot, but we're getting you ready for 2019. I'll soon call their names. And on my left, they are the top 3 teams for the global finals. I'll also call their names to come on stage and invite the judges to come forward and share with us what has been their ultimate decision. Now, AB InBev is faced with a range of challenges, some embedded with ethical dilemmas, opportunities, threats, and weaknesses. They've been losing market share in Brazil, losing market share in Nigeria, losing market share in China. They spent 1 full year negotiating one of the biggest corporate acquisitions, a range of challenges. Some have to do with fintech, e-commerce, business partnering, all those challenges that as finance professionals of today and of the future, they have to confront and demonstrate that they can add value to the to the CEO and the board of directors. Now, as we mentioned yesterday, from the top 6 contestants who presented at the semifinals, we said, when we look at how well they have performed, coming through all the stages, let's clarify. For the senior competition, we started with almost 450 teams from 75 different universities, 75 different universities, 60 different countries. They've gone through all the stages before we eventually got to this top 6. And for the junior, almost 120 public and private schools from 16 different African countries. They've gone through all the stages and we've left with this final 3. That is the context in which we are now trying to crown the eventual winners. We are inspired by the need to create and grow this competition because we believe our education system does so much to build our young future business leaders, but it does so little in terms of helping them prepare for our world of today, which is changing very rapidly. And we're trying to make sure that the challenges that executives face today is brought into the classroom so that we're sure that at the time they are studying those subjects that we know they struggle with or they study very hard to pass their exams, economics, accounting, business studies for high schools, mathematics, at the level of universities, strategy, marketing, corporate governance, ethics. We want to be sure that they'll be able to grasp where the connection between what they are studying at school, how it impacts on decisions, and how that could be applied, so that as they come out from school, they have a wide range of career choices. Now, when we started this vision 2 years ago, we were blessed to receive an absolute support from the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. Without their support, it would not have been possible. They've been there with us for the simplest reason that the mission that we're trying to drive in terms of effecting change and building the finance leaders of the future falls centrally within what they run as part of their own mission. So I think it makes sense, therefore, to take about 3 minutes and invite a representative from ACCA to come on stage and make a brief statement. So at this point, let me invite Raymond Kagudi, who is the Business Development Manager for ACCA, to come on stage and make a brief statement. Raymond?
Thanks, Valentino, for the opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good day, actually. It's 12:15. On behalf of ACCA is greatly honored to form part and parcel of this particular partnership, which in our view is a strategic partnership, and where we locate it is this particular process is within our context where we say we embrace the future, we embrace change. Hence, we locate that within the aspect of thinking ahead. Technology emerges as one of the imperative and factor in changing and influencing the world of work and defining the new roles and rendering previous roles at the workplaces within the finance and accounting profession obsolete. What makes this also important for us, colleagues, is that one author stated that individually we are one drop. Together, we are an ocean. It takes strategic partnerships of this particular nature to make meaningful contribution where we invest. If we want to invest in the future, we improve countries like South Africa and Africa as a whole and integrate and link it with the global world in this particular changing environment. That can be achieved through strategic partnerships. It is also maybe important for us to share with you that one of the strategic proposals or projects that we have is a funding that we've made to target 350 learners, targeting peri-urban and rural areas. We invest in the future. It means that we must be able to think ahead by investing and giving young people an opportunity to create meaningful business leaders who will bring meaningful, significant change within our country and Africa as a whole. We also have to acknowledge that this particular competition is expanding across Africa. It's also expanding globally. What does it mean for us as South Africa? What does it mean for us as Africa? It means that our young people are able to compete at an international, competitively at an international scale. And if our young people are able to compete at that particular level, it therefore means that the future of our country, the future of our continent is guaranteed within this particular young people. We wish for this particular form of strategic partnerships to grow. We invest more, and out of this particular young people, we are able to make meaningful change. Lastly, some of the great leaders have said the liberation of Ghana is meaningless if it's not linked to the total liberation of Africa. And one scholar, one African leader, Robert Sobukwe, says that to us, education means service to Africa. And if education means service to Africa, it logically means that we need to invest to those who in future will become the drivers for this particular country, for this particular continent to be one of the best in the global world. And it is through this particular strategic partnership that we are able to work together and to make a meaningful contribution. We are greatly honored, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Right, at this point, we're going to start with announcing the winners for the CFO Junior. The time has come. We have been inviting these teams throughout the stages. We've always called them on stage to come present in alphabetical order by name of country. So I'll still call them in alphabetical order by name of country to line up here. But obviously the judges would then come forward and, for the first time, not call them anymore in alphabetical order by name of country. They will call them in order of winners, but we'll obviously start with the third place finish. So at this point, let me invite the CFO Junior teams on stage. Alphabetical order by name of, it turns out this year there are 2 teams from South Africa. So who do you call first? Because they both come from South Africa. So we're going to call them in alphabetical order by name of their school. So we're going to start with Team Hemis from Crawford College, South Africa. Just shift this up. Next would be Team Synergy, CBC St. Patrick's, Kimberley, South Africa. Well, we chose the name Zimbabwe. It starts with a Z, so Z is always going to be the last to be called. So next would be Team Group 1 Consultancy from Premier Business School, Zimbabwe. All right. At this point, I will invite the Deputy Chief Judge of the CFO Junior Continental, Hani Shangase, the CFO of Daniel Aerostructures. Please come forward. All right, so she will make a brief statement, take us through her impressions, and we will start the process of calling the winner, starting with the third, the last two, and then the eventual winner.
Thank
Over
you,
to you.
Valentine. Good afternoon to everyone, and a special greeting to these wonderful leaders. Can you please just give them a big round of applause? I'm not going to call them
If you are
future
called,
leaders
come on
because
stage.
I believe
If you are
they
called
are
as the
already
winner.
leaders. Firstly, I would like to read a message from our Chief Judge for the CFO Junior Competition, Jopo. She couldn't make it today. However, this is the message she said I must send to you. Your ability to perform under pressure was truly tested. And she says, well done. You should be proud of yourself for what you have achieved up until today. This competition ramps up a notch each year, and thank you for pushing the boundaries. She says, stay passionate and keep learning. And she wishes everyone the best. Having said that, I would like to do a little bit of some reflection on this competition. I would like to acknowledge the hard work from CharterQuest, from all the judges, the students, and also the teachers. Your hard work has shown successful and great results, and I would like to thank you all. You have groomed these youngsters to be our future CFOs. Our involvement as judges was to make sure that this competition, firstly, is a success, and also to encourage these youngsters to demonstrate their ability to read and understand the case study, to critically analyze and show their understanding of what is happening in the real business world. And I must say they did very well. We were looking at the style, how they do the presentation, their confidence, the team spirit, and how they answer the question. We were also looking at the substance on how do they analyze the strategy, how do they look at the strategic choices and implementation. And I must acknowledge these leaders, not future leaders, leaders, that they did very well, all of them. My highlights of this competition was the attributes of the logical and critical thinking they have demonstrated. And the acquired skill for public speaking, listening, and also the competitiveness that they have demonstrated. And I would also like to acknowledge their team spirit. They work very well together as teams. Having said that, you are leaders and you are all winners. Please remember this wherever you go, that leaders are not made in challenging times, but they are revealed in tough times. Having said that, I'd like to take the opportunity to call upon the team that took the third place. The team that took the third place is Premier Business School, Team Group 1.
Congrats. Congrats. Okay.
And now I'm left with 2 teams. Are you guys ready to hear who is the winner? And please note that the team that I did not call is the second team that won. And the winner is Crawford College, Team Hammond.
Okay, give it to him, to the team leader. You raise it up.
No, that means I'll have to leave.
The future of the continent is bright. From what I have personally observed throughout the stages, the future of the continent is bright. The future of South Africa is bright. Let us now move on to the CFO Global, open to universities around the world. And I'll start by once again calling the top 3 winners who competed at the finals yesterday, once again in alphabetical order by name of country. If 2 teams come from the same country, in alphabetical order by name of the school. So we are going to start with Germany, that's Team UMCC. There was an interesting observation made by one of the panel members. This competition, you're allowed to form a team of 3 or 4. Team UMCC started with a team of 4. And apparently the team leader started firing some of the members. No, we're joking. They started with a team of 4, came through all the way to the semifinals, but because of 1 or 2 mishaps, the 4th member could not join in South Africa. So they arrived in South Africa 2 days ago to compete, 3 of them. And then they competed at the semifinals, 3 of them, and managed to pull through to the finals. And then another mishap happened. One of their team members fell sick in the evening, so we're trying to assist to try and support. We're hoping that by the morning she will be strong enough to continue with the competition, but it was not to be. I need to reassure you she's fine. She's doing fine. They should be able to go back home in good health and in peace. But we saw some braveness. When we realized that they just left 2 of them, we asked them, do you still want to proceed? They say, well, we are here in Africa to compete. So we would compete if the rules, if you allow us to do so. Our guidance was the competition does not allow for 2 team members, but it's because of the circumstances and your drive and willingness to compete, charge forward. And they said, okay, so they charged forward. That's why they are now left with the 2 of them. We'll soon hear how that played out. Okay, we're now going to call on the next team. That would be Team University of Pretoria, Team Synergy. And lastly, again, alphabetically by name of school in this case, Team University of KwaZulu-Natal. Please come forward, Team UKZN. Okay, at this point, it's befitting for me to invite one gentleman that I regard as a friend, but at the same time as a father, at the same time as a mentor. He's been with this competition since from 2016 as the chief judge, devotes a tremendous amount of his time, despite all the pressures, operating as the group chief finance officer of Telkom from the time I knew him, and now currently the group chief investment officer. He still finds time to come back and share his wisdom, share his knowledge to help us develop our leaders of the future. This gentleman is called Dion Fredericks. He's the overall chief judge of the competition. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Dion Fredericks on stage.
Thanks, Valentine. ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I think it's important that we support the new leaders that we've seen in front of us. And I want to take this opportunity to thank those that actually have come and watched them perform. Because ultimately that's what it's about. So it's my privilege to announce the winners today, or the winner. But starting off first, that everybody that participated, they winners, because you made a decision to participate. And I think many times we're too afraid to make decisions. The second point I would like to make is in terms of they may have felt, and some people in the audience may have felt, that the case studies were very difficult. I look at it differently and say, what's challenging? There's nothing free in life. There's nothing, I always joke, in our business, everybody sitting in the room wants data for free and voice for free, but somebody needs to pay at the end of the day. And as a result of this, the intention is to place these leaders, these young leaders, under pressure. And we've seen they have dealt very well with it. If we look in terms of the presentations as well as the case studies that they've done and the quality of it and the intent that they've put into it, it was great. Unfortunately in life, and I suppose it's because we're human, we always want to win, there must be a winner. There must be a winner as well. But many times I believe usually the people or the teams that don't make it through, they learn more through it because they get detailed feedback in terms of that. And it's important to note that ultimately they're advising a board. If you advise a board incorrectly, the company may not be there in 6 months. And that's how the judges look at it. Strategically, how did they approach the case study? How do they present it? And how they prioritize it. Because if you get your prioritization wrong, it means the company may not be around in 6 months' time. So it's not a theoretical exercise. It's an exercise to say what you present, how do we evaluate it. But we also look at their arguments and how they have done in terms of their conclusions. So I think all 6 teams have done very well. And I think it's just right of us to congratulate them on that. So the way that we look at it is holistically. We look at team spirit. We look at how do they work together. We look at innovation. And we look at just the approach that they've taken. And we've come to that time that we need to, unfortunately, announce a winner. And we will start with the 3rd place. And the 3rd place goes to Team UMCC. And then we get to the 1st place, and we will have on the screen, both on the screen, and one of them will be the winner. And it gives me great pleasure to announce that the winner for this year's 2018 case study will be Team UKZN.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we close our session by announcing that the entries for CFO 2019 are now officially open. It is going to be bigger and better, I promise you. Thank you so much.